Here we go. We're live, baby. So here we go. Another special edition of the Lexit War Room. We have a special guest, the man himself, Chingo Bling, the demonic kingpin. He's a rapper, comedian, man. I've been following this guy since way back in the day, and it's an honor and a privilege. Not only was I a big fan, but I became a bigger fan when I found out he was a Trump supporter. I was like, boom, my mind was blown. So thank you, brother, for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Yeah, I'm excited.
Cool, definitely. So people that don't know you, brother, people that follow your career now that they know because you're a conservative and you come out and made a bold statement, we'll get into that stuff. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, just about how you were brought up and what led you to be a rapper, comedian, all that good stuff.
So, Mexican-American kid from the southeast side of Houston, Texas. My parents are from Tamaulipas, Mexico. And, I was just living in a straight barrio. I didn't have a lot of interaction with a lot of different races and cultures. A long story short, I'm going to give you the fast version. So by the time ninth grade rolled around, I got a chance to go to this fancy prep school in New Jersey. So it was like a full paid ride. I was 13, so I had to live by myself, wash my own chores, tell myself to do my own homework. Like I was on my own. My parents dropped me off, and they're like, "Pues no sé, mijo, pues figure it out," And of course, I was real I guess I don't know what the word is, man. Like almost like a chip on my shoulder, like insecure. I just felt like, man, I'm the only Mexican dude here. I was like one of two Mexicans, and I came from like 100% Mexican area. So it just threw me off. I was like, man, it was like culture shock, basically. It was culture shock. And so little by little, I started to get a little bit more comfortable. Like, well, I'm here for a reason. Like, I deserve this stuff. So by the time I was like a junior or a senior, about to graduate, I started accepting more like, okay, I'm a student here. I don't have to always feel like, hey, man, they're staring at me, or they know I'm on scholarship, I kind of got that chip off my shoulder. Went on to do college. While I was in college, I did college radio. I had a Sunday night hip hop show. So it was just local, underground. And that's how I started kind of getting my DJ name out. And then I started hustling mixtapes at the flea market, just kind of hitting the streets. This is a long time ago. Before MySpace. So it's like kind of like the swap meet type of vibe. And that's where my Chingo Bling persona started coming to life, because I would do this whole other character, where I would mix in some Spanish. I would make sure I'd rap in some Spanish stuff, and it would catch people's ears because I started in San Antonio. So people in San Antonio would hear that bumping at the pulga, like, man, what did he say? Like, man, he's kind of spitting. Damn, it's kind of funny too. Whoa, it's got skits on here. How much is it? And it started spreading. And, I wanted to do stand-up comedy like right then and there, but my music stuff, it just kept taking up my attention and my time and my energy. And I ended up getting a record deal. I ended up negotiating with like P. Diddy and like all these different people. Master P called me. Shout out to my boy Pitbull. He really put a lot of plays together for me. He was always looking out for me, like, hey man, hey Chingo, hey, I got Capital on the other line, man. I'm telling them about you. Stuff like that. Long story short, I put out an album called They Can't Deport Us All. That was under Asylum Warner Brothers Records. So at the time, I didn't know I was being a pawn to some globalists. I didn't know I was promoting something that I didn't know a lot about. I knew that I had a big heart for immigrants because my parents are immigrants. I knew that the media was scapegoating us every 4 years. They were trying to like either create fear or blame. And I just kept hearing how they were just blaming immigrants. So I had, I got a big mouth. So I started this They Can't Deport Us All movement. But here's the thing that I realize now. When they would interview me and put like headlines and articles on stuff, I didn't know what all these terms meant. So I literally found an article the other day, and it said Chingo Bling has a like a wrapped vehicle, and it says They Can't Deport Us All, and he got a backlash from conservatives or something like that. At the time, I didn't even know what that meant. So at the time, I was probably like, conservatives, what's that? Oh, that's Republicans. Oh, okay, the bad guys, the greedy, old, rich, white men. Okay, okay,
Right.
yeah, cool, whatever. And I just kept it moving because I was young, dumb. I didn't really do a deep dive into, politics or what, leftism was, what is progressive, what is liberal. I didn't understand propaganda all the way and how the media can manipulate things, how they persuade, the powers that be. So I've been doing stand-up comedy for the past 6 years, but when Trump won in 2016, I was mad because I had a bad case of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. Um, I remember Trump growing up. I remember him from pop culture, from the 80s, from being in movies and being a real estate guy. I remember reading his book, The Art of the Deal, when I was a little kid because I was like, yo, this dude makes money. He knows about business. I'm going to read the book. But when 2016 rolled around, I was like, I didn't want to vote for. I don't even think I voted that year because I wasn't about Hillary either. So I just remember seeing Trump won, and I was like, well, I mean, damn, it's better than Hillary, but damn, man, it's a reality star, dude. Like, how is a
Right.
reality star guy gonna run the United States, and we got all these other countries? And I was watching CNN, so they were just brainwashing me, and I was pissed off. Plus, I heard the quote about Mexicans and rapists and whatever that
Right.
whole fiasco. So, needless to say, for like the first half or 3/4 of his term, I had Trump derangement syndrome. I was like, man, this dude called Nazis fine people. He telling people to drink bleach. I can't wait till they impeach him. And why is he on the phone with Ukraine? And what is this man doing? Because I wouldn't open my eyes to
Yeah.
other media outlets.
Right.
So what happened after the Ukraine impeachment? I started listening to different voices on the internet, different points of view. Like, oh, what is this, man? These PragerU people, man, are these racist, man? Who are these racist people, PragerU? And then I'm like, who is this person? And there's a dude named Scott Adams who started to debunk a lot of these hoaxes. Like, that didn't happen, right? This got cut out, and I'm going to play you the part. And
Mm-hmm.
once the hoaxes got removed out of my way, I was able to judge him for what he was really trying to do and what he was really doing. So it was the hoaxes. The hoaxes were the things blocking me. That was the friction of me having a closed mind to like, nah, man, he said Mexicans are rapists and hell no, man. I didn't know I had Trump derangement syndrome. I didn't know I was being brainwashed by the media. I was just like all the people that are calling me a coconut and calling me names, calling me culture vulture, vendido, trader, all that sellout stuff. I was just like them. I probably would have been cussing myself out too. Like, dude, you did a 180.
Right. Right. Right.
But once I saw he really didn't say drink bleach, he didn't call Nazis fine people. I saw what he was trying to say about the border situation. It wasn't like, oh, Mexicans. It was like, look, man, you got people coming over here doing DUIs, running people over. You got MS-13. You got kids being trafficked. You got sex trafficking. You got God knows who and what. You got fentanyl coming through that border. And I was just like, I just decided to go public. I was like, man, I feel like I know too much. And I would feel like a fake, phony sucker if I didn't try to red pill other people. I wouldn't be me
Exactly.
if I didn't stick my neck out and say, look, this is going to sound crazy, but I voted for Trump. And if y'all have an open mind, I'll tell you why. And that's how it all kind of, that's when the shit hit the fan.
That's so cool, man. It sounds similar to my story, to a lot of our stories like that. Like me, I was never into politics or whatever, but just like you said, the fake media, it made me get involved. I was just sick of the fake propaganda. I just seen though how they were manipulating not only Latinos but blacks too, just minorities in general. I just seen it. It was just making me sick, and then just the constant lies and just all of that. And like you, and I was like, you know what? I just got to come out, start being vocal and pushing against this fake old narrative. But that's what we do. That's what we are all pushing against, is the fake media. That's like our right to that. Trump
Right.
always says that that's the enemy of America. And he's right, bro. Like how you said, look at how all your thoughts. But that's one thing I just want to say before we start, that I just want to respect you so much, bro, that like you're one of the first that came out and to the truth, because a lot of Latinos are prideful, and I know some people are prideful that they won't want to admit that they were wrong or whatever. But see, you you studied. That's what we always push here at Lexit. We say to vote on the issues. You know what I mean? To do your research, do your homework. Don't just listen to the fake media propaganda. And that's what you did. You researched it, and you seen, and then like you said, it's like the blinders come off once you see how the fake media is and all of that. Then you could see how vile and disgusting that they truly are, bro.
Hey, you know what's crazy is there's one fan in particular that I had a conversation with. So he's a new fan, right? Because
Right.
during my They Can't Deport Us All days, so anyway, so I bumped into him, right? He came to a show. He's like, hey man, he said, your dad, Chingo, is from the same city my dad is from. He's like, I'm supposed to be a fan of you. He's like, I wanted to root for you. All these years I wanted to root for you. He's like, but I couldn't because I saw your whole movement as anti-American. He's like, now I'm rocking with you. And I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, I was missing out on this type of fan all these years because I was uninformed. I was really, in a way, I don't want to say I was creating a disservice, but like, because I was uninformed, you know, I didn't know no better. So I just was being a pawn to like anytime these, hey, we want to get the Latino vote out. Can you make a PSA? And I'm like, all right. Well, every 4 years they hit me up for stuff, or like Beto O'Rourke. You know, he was a nice person, but you know, when they hit me up, I wasn't red pilled yet, right? So I was like, all right, you know, it doesn't hurt. I'll go up there. I went and spoke, and where he spoke, and I met him and all this stuff. But then like a little bit later, he's like, yeah, we're coming for your guns. And he kept trying to blame the El Paso massacre. Somehow they trying to make it like, oh, it's all Trump's fault because Trump said some stuff. Trump got some rhetoric. And then you got this one asshole, this one idiot is cuckoo in the head. And he got a gun. He went and did some stupid shit. But it's all part of the Trump rhetoric. So I just can't really back him up unless he you know, changes some of his views. But you know,
it's the hypocrisy, like how you were saying about that. Remember when that Bernie supporter went and tried to shoot up those Republicans? But it wasn't Bernie's fault. It wasn't like whenever the left does. That's why it's just the hypocrisy. That's one of the first things that anybody should see. It's just the fake. Like how you said, everything, the wind blows and it's Trump's fault. They were just, like you said, Trump derangement syndrome. And then Latinos, to me, I seen it, especially a lot of youth, bro, but you probably seen it a lot. To me, it's like if they think it's like they're being down for their race, their raza, if they hate Trump. Like they don't even know nothing about politics. They don't know nothing about it, but they think it's down. F Trump. Eh? Like they don't even know, like they think they're being down or something. I'm like, what you talking about? He's doing all kinds of for Latinos. You're talking like you're for Latinos. Look at all the stuff, and I'll start hitting it with facts. Bam, 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 bam. And they're like, oh, we didn't know that. We didn't know that, or whatever. And I say, look at me. I was an ex-gang member. You think I would be down with a dude if he was a racist and was all against Latinos? Heck no, I wouldn't be down with them. So that's how we're doing it. But like I said, I just respect you a lot, man, for you coming out. And like we gotta fight for the country, bro, because you see what the left is, bro. You see them even right now; they're still out there. Like I don't even know why, bro. Antifa and them are still burning down over there. Like they even won, cheated, whatever, and they're still burning. And imagine, because they know Biden and Kamala are just gonna let it run buck wild. They ain't gonna stop them.
Yeah, there's a DJ that I know very well for many years. So a lot of my relationships got slightly strained during this time because some people can't process that you're the same person. It's just that you know, because the propaganda is so powerful that, you know, Trump was painted as this caricature that's, you know, Hitler, Satan, evil, and all y'all down with the insurrection, and that was a coup, and everybody that went in there, and even if you weren't there, you part of the coup, and you know, stuff like that. But there's this speaking of the Antifa thing, this DJ that I know, and I'm sure we're still cool. It's just little Twitter stuff that, you know, people like to do. So I posted something saying, I can't wait to read more about this Antifa situation and how they're being funded, because it's such a massive, it's a big scale thing, right? And homeboy hits me up saying, dude, you got to go to Portland. And I've seen it with my own two eyes. They're just a bunch of idiots. They're not organized. They're not funded. You need to be worried about your MAGA people. They killed a cop. And I'm like, whoa, time out. I basically told him, look, the media covers for Antifa. Celebrities and politicians bail them out. They receive donations in plain sight to Cash App, Zelle, GoFundMe, etc. Celebrities put the link out. They bail them out. They could do whatever. They got carte blanche. They could just do whatever they want. And I told him, I was like, they have strategies such as run the police out of the police station, and then we're going to set up an autonomous zone. I was like, they're more organized than you think. I was like, they're issuing out homemade pipe bombs and Molotov cocktails. I was like, they do a lot of damage. It's just that if you're blind to the both sides of the discussion and you're only taking what Don Lemon is telling you or Chris Cuomo, that's all you know is New York Times and LA Times, and you're just like, Orange Man bad, Antifa. Antifa's just an idea.
You know what it is, bro? We went to the White House one time. We came out of the White House, and there was a couple of them, and they thought that they were going to have they thought they were going to see a bunch of white kids coming out of the White House, right? So we walk out, bunch of Latinos all tatted up, and they were stomping with their sticks, and they're staring at us as we walk out. They paused because they were like, And we did this interview, and this lady came up to us, a white lady. She had a BLM hat on. She's screaming at us, saying, why were you guys in there? Why we're being interviewed by the Australian? We're telling her to bug off. You know what I mean? She's like, you guys are going to catch COVID. We're like, you're in our face. She turns around. She tells me, I hope you die. And to me, right then and there, I realized it's liberal privilege. It's liberal privilege. That's why a white woman could wear a Black Lives Matter hat and flip off a black cop. Because it doesn't matter about his skin color then. It's all that the liberals have privilege. And it's so sad that Latinos don't wake up. And I wanted to say this quote, and I said it a bunch of times. It's like a quote that I've heard Kingfest and other guys have said. A white man once told a Latino, hey, I have the privilege of thinking for myself without being called a traitor to my race. See, a white man could walk into, say, a bar or a store and see another white man across the room and say, what are you, a libertarian, conservative, whatever. Us, we have to be Democrats, or we're traitors to our race. And that's true slavery of the mind, right? See, it would make sense. So most Latinos can't even get that concept that they put us in a box, right? Many years ago, and we have to think a certain way. Go ahead.
Well, you know what, man? What you just described in a nutshell, that's like one of the biggest hurdles, especially for me, because people are like, but you're Mr. They can't deport us all. You've been repping the raza and all your characters, speak Spanish and this and that. And so they just can't process that it's possible that somebody who voted Republican isn't racist. They can't process it. Mm-hmm. And I tell people all the time, if you ain't got no conservative friends, Republican friends, get you some. Because ever since I crossed over to the dark side, as they call it, which that's not how I see it. It's like, man, actors, radio hosts, like you guys, so many people came out to support. A lot of the fans that come to the shows, it's a shift, and everyone's just more like positive. There ain't no drama, there ain't no beef. A lot of my Republican friends, conservative friends that I'm making now, they're like, Chingo, tell us some of your business ideas. I want to connect you with a distributor, and I'm gonna be your biggest customer, and tell me when that album is done. I'm gonna tweet it out to all my friends, and like, it's all just building and positivity. It's no like BS and whining and complaining.
Making you think that. Go ahead.
No, you know what's funny, real quick. Everybody called Kanye crazy. Remember that TMZ? No, it wasn't TMZ. Remember the Big Boy interview he had? The Big Boy one? And he was dropping gems on that interview when he was saying basically like the same thing they're trying. So we fought years ago to end slavery to 100 years later so a white man could tell me how to think. When he said that to me, I was like, bro, if the youth can't get that you should just be happy that I have the right to think for myself. Bro, that's a scary thing. That's a scary thing because even me, I'm a Trump supporter, but I'm not going to follow Trump off a cliff. The only person I'm going to fall off a cliff is the Lord Jesus Christ. That's how I feel. But I mean, to my point is, I don't get how the youth today can't see that they are being manipulated by mainstream media, or by, I guess they would call it the same thing, the white man, right? And it's sad to say, and Malcolm X, I don't agree with a lot of what Malcolm X said, but what he said was true, is it's the white liberal. That's exactly what it is. Controlling all minorities. They have privilege to cross any line they want to, go back and forth without being held to any standard. The Democrats aren't held to any standard. That's the way it works, because it's like the Theo. It's like you got two Theos. You know, you got that one Theo you could trust in, that you know is going to get you a gift for Christmas, and you got that one Theo that shows up drunk for Christmas. Well, you don't expect anything from that Theo that's drunk all the time, right? You're like, man, this Theo, because that's what it is. With the Democrats, they're like, we know they're going to fail it. So, but the Republicans, because they believe in God, because they're good people, they have to be held to a higher standard, and it's so sad. It's so sad because it's like, oh, you can't act, you have to act right. But our side, oh yeah, we can kill babies up to birth. Oh, our side, oh yeah, we can play God, we can change your genders. It's cool. It don't matter. We can do whatever we want. But the Republicans will be held to like you said, orange man down. The hypocrisy is crazy.
But like, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Just
no, I was gonna say, see, we don't even consider us like all Republican. Like A-Rod knows, we're pissed at Republicans right now. All those backstabbers. We're like, I just know Trump was down, so I'm gonna call it as I see it. But I was a lifelong Democrat, though. You know what I'm saying? I was a lifelong Democrat. But it's just like what trips me out is no matter how many minorities come out and support Trump, they still continue to push that, like how he was saying about Kanye. Look at us right here. 3 Mexicans right here. We're all right here for Trump and all that. And still, like, they don't care how many, like, it could be 50 a day, Latinos and blacks on there, wherever that we're leaving that. They'll still racist, because that's all, like, literally, bro, if they don't talk about race, they'll have nothing to talk about. That's what they use to manipulate blacks and Latinos, is everything, bro. Is everything, like you're saying. Like we were talking earlier, we were trying to even watch the Super Bowl yesterday. They were trying to make it race, whatever crap, even at the Super. Like, man, everything they're trying to push that. What do they call it now? I don't even know what they injustice, racial justice.
Systemic racism.
Some whatever bull. That's fake, you know what I mean? Like every race has racists, bro. You know, everybody has an old racist Theo, your grandpa. You know what I mean? Even the Asians are racist.
Yeah, because the reason all humans are biased is because our brains have evolved over time to be pattern recognition machines. So maybe back when we were cavemen, you had to recognize the pattern of like, okay, I think that's a gator over there, or oh, I found some food over there yesterday, so I'm gonna go check or whatever. So it's all, you know, we're all somewhat biased no matter what. Right. But I feel you, man. It's like the propaganda is so powerful that a lot of people, it just goes over their head. Like for example, they'll say Biden has built overflow facilities for unaccompanied minors, and I'm like, okay, do these overflow facilities have a cage-like vibe? You know,
right?
Homeboys building tents. First of all, Biden was the first administration to even implement that.
Exactly.
But I'll have people arguing with me till they're blue in the face, like, but they released them right away, and they didn't use them the way Trump did, and Trump's were this, and yeah, but Trump took them away from their parents. And I was like, bro, parents, okay? You know, it's a lot of trafficking going on. You got coyotes, you got sex traffickers, human traffickers. I live in Houston, Texas, the human trafficking capital of America. We're a port city. You got this, you got the damn Houston port of Houston, and it's you know, it's a hedonistic city. It's brothels and shit. It's all types of weird shit going on. But you know, the propaganda is so powerful that the left they'll just kind of switch words up, or oh, like you said,
right?
Oh, it wasn't bad when Bernie incited violence, or all summer long, I was sitting in quarantine, literally having to watch alternative media, having to see like people, like hear Joe Rogan interview somebody. Now I got to go on check his page, and then who's this Tim Pool guy? Who is this person? Who's Candace Owens? What is Lexit? You know, boom, 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 and you start to stumble across like, oh, wait a minute, so this whole political party, the Democrats. So these mayors, governors, they're literally locking down the public, killing small business, uh, pushing a narrative. Meanwhile, they're saying this is a protest that can't happen, but this is protest that can. And then they're inciting violence. They're saying, y'all, who said protest needs to be peaceful? And, you know, I'm literally
Exactly.
watching cities on fire. And then you're seeing like
Right.
an unfortunate situation.
Wow.
Like this is how I picture every time you see like an unarmed black man, you know, die or get into a officer involved shooting or something. It's almost like the media is salivating. They're just like, please say he was unarmed.
Yes,
They're like,
right. No?
please say they shot him in the back. Please say this cop fucked up. They're just like waiting so that
Mhm.
they
But
can
you
just
and you
yeah.
you'll hear crickets from the other side. Didn't the other day we seen that it was a black couple that tortured or beat up, adopted this little white girl, and then beat her up. Right,
8 years old.
8 years old, beat her up, adopted her, and they were like a
Killed her.
leftist. They were a
Yeah.
real extreme leftist
Oh
couple.
yeah.
And you
Yeah.
know what? The hypocrisy. And going back to the border, it's
Oh
funny
man.
because
If
oh,
if those were if those people were Trump people, oh man,
Or
bro,
those two
I
whites, but even two whites that killed a little black kid like that.
or
Oh
even anything.
hell, would it be
If if
broken?
if a Trump person does anything wrong, they're like, see, that is why the entire everybody and their mom.
no, you're right. You're so check this out. Going back to the border,
Everybody is
this is
there.
I was just reading this article. And this is crazy. Is all year long, all I'm hearing is this: Biden's like, my first day of office, I'm gonna fix what's going down at the border, making sure from day one it's gonna be turned around. So I'm reading this article today, and it says that so Border Patrol is handing over the kids right when they catch them, kids that don't have their parents, handing them over to Homeland Security, reopening these overflow facilities, right? And they're going to work on reversing the policies that Trump put in. But as of right now, they're still going to use the same policies Trump did. Wait, I thought it was supposed to be day one they were going to do this. So they're still going to use. So see how the hypocrisy works with them? And people will read this and they're like, nah, they're going to work on it. You know why? Because nobody's worse than Orange Man. Nobody can be worse than him. When we see what's going on, man, it's infuriating sometimes, bro.
Well, you know what it's looking like he was saying, eh? How no matter what the left does, they try to
Yeah.
justify, like him, like he's kept pointing out all these facts to them. Oh, but it's because of that, and because just trying to justify them. But Trump, anything, then there's no excuse for you know what I mean? They don't even want to hear it. They don't want anything.
It's
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then they'll believe any lie about Trump. I mean, you could say probably, hey, Trump was doing something with UFOs or something, and they'll believe any lie about Trump, bro. Like I said, the Ukraine hoax, Russia hoax, like storming down, whatever lie, they'll just believe anything, right?
so
But you show them actual truth and facts with evidence, and they'll just don't even want to hear it, bro,
so
or just
so
justify
so
it.
Chingo, check this out. We got a guy from our team. His name is Ricardo, and he said something I thought was so powerful a couple of months back. And he says, "Our Latinos are so trusting of other Latinos, like Jose Ramos and stuff." He goes, "That's why if you go to where my grandpa lived and my dad lives in Mexico, they will go to church every Sunday and believe everything that comes out of that pastor's mouth, even though they don't know how to read and they've never opened up the Bible their whole life. They'll believe it if they told them. That's how trusting we are. So because we tell them, hey, look what's going on in the cages. It's a white person told them, and not Jose Ramos. Guess what? They're gonna believe him because he looks. They're that hypnotized and brainwashed to only think not outside of their own skin color. And I'm glad that you have, bro, and I'm glad that you're enlightening people.
Hey, I'm taking a lot of heat, but you know, at the end of the day, man, you know, I really make sure to speak out about, you know, the rights that are at stake. You know, freedom of
Right.
speech. Um, right now, people are like, "Oh, shut up, Chingo. Just take your L. You're just mad because Trumpas lost or whatever." But I'm like, okay, look. All that aside, we have to really take a look at how much power we've given to big tech, you know, how dependent we've all become on these social media platforms, how the minute we're in this situation the country's in right now, they're able to say, well, that's conspiracy or that's disinformation, or we'll label you, we'll deplatform you. We'll, you know, with some people, they make it to where you won't be able to use Stripe, PayPal, nothing. And like that dude Alex Jones. I know he said some like extreme stuff at sometimes,
Yeah.
but he was like one of the first people that they made an example out of
Oh yeah.
where they basically were gonna say, all right, we're gonna use this guy to literally deplatform. He had to go get his own servers, and it was almost like a blueprint because they were like, look, they're gonna let us do it to him because they're gonna, make him look crazy. And then they did it to, they're doing it to Trump. Obviously, they used the January 6th event, and just basically, it's like they can do it to anybody and whoever, whenever. Um, and it's almost like when it happened to Alex Jones, nobody really spoke up. When it happened to this person, some people get mad. What happens to that person? Well, they're always like, well, go build your own parlor, go build your own server. Oh, go build your own Apple store, go build your own Amazon with your servers.
Right.
Yeah.
But they say Trump's the dictator though, bro. When they're over there shutting down all the speeches like communism, that's
censoring.
I'm just tripping out like it's with and then look at us, like we're Latinos, we're a Latino page, and they're censoring us, hating it. You think they would do that to BLM and all that? If they did something or something to BLM, they'll say, "Oh, you guys are racist" or whatever. Or something. So they won't do anything to them. But conservative, if you're a conservative, man, they don't care about your race or any of that. They treat us all like that.
It's all about the vote. We went live with Dinesh D'Souza, and he gave a really good analogy. He said, picture Democrats and Republicans. Picture a big building. On the top of the building, you have a Republican and Democrat politician. And what goes on is Democrats will hand you down a rope, and they'll only pull you up as far as they let you with government programs. They'll never bring you up to the top because it'll never work that way, right? And then they'll leave you hanging whenever they want. Well, Republicans, they send down a ladder. You have all the tools. They give you everything you have, but it's going to be up to you to make it to the top on your own. And it's sad because Latinos go out there, vote Democrat the whole time, while they offer us nothing but crumbs every single time. People will literally, I had this example happen at work, bro, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but I'm going to say it. So I work for the city, right? And there's a section that's a park section, right? The parks department or whatever. And the most are Latinos. Let's just be honest. Most are Latinos that work in the parks and cutting grass or whatever. Now, I started there and I moved on to like a public works section, right? So the union voted, right? And they said, you either go on strike if you want 3% of whatever, or we give you $700. So the biggest people that were there were parks people. So what do you think they took? They took the $700, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad because they didn't see the bigger picture. And I feel like in a situation like this, when it comes to government, they see something like this. They see $1,200. They see if I make $1,000 a month at Home Depot and I get $1,000 worth of food stamps, shoot, I make $2,000 a month, bro. I'm good. And not thinking to themselves, you have the option to do what you're doing right now. Become your own entrepreneur, your own businessman. But they can't see outside of that because when somebody hands you something, they think to themselves, it has to be a Robin Hood. It has to be somebody, but they're not Robin Hood. They're not stealing from the rich to the poor. They want our vote. And every single time we're duped into it, just like it is right now. A couple of days later, has Biden even met with Ice Cube, like he said? Remember, right? He said right after the election, I'm gonna meet with you, Ice Cube. Right afterwards, has he met with you? Nah.
Well, I mean, hey, Bodecito Ice Cube, he was trying to tell people, hey, we should have leverage, we should negotiate, we should have a list of demands. And I don't fully understand his list, and I've even heard like some black folks say, like, man, he's asking for the wrong shit. But anyway, regardless of that, at least they had a contract with Black America. Now, unfortunately, he caught backlash from who? His own people for trying to negotiate with both parties to say, hey, I want to know who's going to meet the demands. Trump's folks said, hey, we got the platinum plan. That's $500 billion. That's $500 billion to stimulate everything that y'all have going on so that we can fix some things, right? Biden's people are like, we'll get back to you. But hey, folks passed up $500 billion. Meanwhile, Latinos, we didn't have none of our Latino Hollywood people or anybody saying, all right, Raza, we have a contract with Brown America. We have a list of demands. We're meeting with both parties. No, they were too busy being cheerleaders for the Democratic Party. They were just like, "Orale," and we're gonna zoom you in, and we got Cardi B, and we're gonna be over there performing and dancing and Despacito, and it's gonna be Kumbaya, and finally no more chaos, and finally this is the party of the what is it of inclusion and diversity. Look at how diverse the cabinet is, and that's all they had to do. Play Despacito and put a couple brown faces in the mix.
Throw J-Lo out there.
Hire a mariachi and call it a day.
Yeah.
We didn't negotiate. We didn't ask for anything. We were just doing PSAs, and instead of I would respect CNN and them a lot more if they just won fair and square and didn't have to lie. Like if they were like, okay, look, he didn't say drink bleach, but we're still not happy with his COVID response. We still haven't seen enough about this, that, and the third. It's like, why do you have to lie? Why do you have to say? And then the people that believe it, I was like, you really think he told y'all to drink bleach? Like I tell people all the time, show me the clip where he says drink bleach, and they're just like, oh, he says disinfectant ingested in the body kills it in a minute. It's like, okay, show me where he says drink and bleach. He says you're gonna need a doctor for that, and we're studying this and that, and I'm like, Dr. Birx was right there. They were talking about UV light treatment, and he's saying it's like the light will act as a disinfectant. It'll go in, it kills the virus, which is a real thing.
They don't want to hear that, bro. They hate truth and facts, bro. You're probably whoever that was you're telling it to. They're probably, oh man, bro. They don't want to hear that.
He's not a politician. If people could understand this dude from the beginning wasn't a politician, he's like us. How many times have we been around Latinos and been like, even when we weren't like all super conservative, we look at him and we'd be like, yeah, I can't stand white people, but that one white homie we got around, he's cool, I guess. You know what I mean? Like he's all right. That's what Trump said. I mean, literally, that's what he said. We got people coming over. You know, some are bad, some are good. He's not a politician. I mean, I was the first one. You know what? I said this before, and I'm gonna say now. The reason why I voted for him went back to 2008. I worked in a deaf ed classroom. There was an immigrant, not I want to say illegal immigrant, that came over, raped a little deaf ed girl that was in my class at 8 years old for a whole year. He was 30 years old. The grandma was 60 years old. In Delano, California, and the mom would go to work, leave her with the grandma. The grandma's boyfriend would rape her while the grandma went to the store every evening at 5 o'clock. Finally, the mom went home early, caught her on top, that 30-year-old dude on top of her. And years later, when Trump said people that are coming over are rapists, and everybody was like, oh, you know, the first thing I thought of this little girl that I raised from 3 years old to 8 years old in the classroom. The first person I thought of, and you know what I said to myself? I said, he may not have said it correct, but he's damn not wrong. Because you know what? Yeah. I know people that come over are not all good. They're not. And I always tell people this. Use the same analogy they use on you, use on them. When they say, oh, well, it only takes one bad cop. Well, check it out. Then it only takes one bad immigrant. Use it against yourself, right? The same analogy. But it don't work that way. Yes, we realize we need to have better reform down at the border. Of course, we understand that. But are we going to sacrifice one person? Hell no, not when it's a situation like that. The same thing with the police department. So it's just having that dialogue where you can agree to disagree. You're not going to get everything you want, but not just to say our side is always right and your side is always wrong. That's not going to fix it.
But that's their go-to. That's what they always use, that all about that racist comment. And that was even before even he was even elected. That was when he was running, that one little clip. And like you said, at that time, when all that stuff had happened, I didn't know how corrupt the fake media was. I didn't know how biased where they were and all that at the time. But then now that we all learned that how biased and totally fake there, I could see like how they got you, but you're like, you know what, they manipulated me. But I seen it, and at least you woke up. That's why I always tell people, like, okay, they got us 4 years ago. Like they said, oh, Trump's gonna deport all you guys. And I'm like, what? He never did nothing. He did all kinds. He offered DACA 3 times, bro. Not only that, they remember the DNC got busted calling Latinos taco bowls, bro. And do they ever, like, you know what I mean? Said, oh, about Trump, that comment when he was saying the truth and whatever. But you're not offended they called us taco bowls? You know what I mean? She said all blacks look alike. He said, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. Where's your outrage on all that? But any little thing, Trump or whatever, they're just all over it, right? Like you said, it's just crazy, bro. Like you said, the Trump deranged syndrome is just ingrained in them. so deep, bro.
You know what I wonder? I'm headed to Florida. I got a show out there this Wednesday and Thursday, and they're wide open. They're free as a mug. Governor DeSantis has it to where their economy's booming. But I wonder how many people are starting to see, like, because I hit up a lot of my comedian friends from California, like, hey, man, how's it going? How's it looking out there? Stuff like that. And I try to like red pill them and tell them like, hey man, it's your governor, bro, and your mayor. They're kind of screwing up. Like they're mismanaging this beautiful state with beautiful people. And you know, I was like, over here, we're able to do this and that. And he's like, yeah, but y'all got cases. I'm like, y'all got cases too. So I'm curious if people are starting to put two and two together. Like, okay, like say if you live in Chicago, or say if you live in a city where like, you know, New York, where murder's up, crime is up, carjackings are up. I'm in Houston where it's Democrat run. However, the state is red. So although you might have had like a little bit of riots or whatever, the governor is not going to allow it to get out of hand. They're not going to let them just defund the police and all that kind of crap. So I wonder how many people look up and like, man, okay, the mayor's hypocritical. Like they got us on these endless lockdowns. Is it 15 days to flatten the curve, or is it all year? And you know what I mean? Like I'm really curious because a lot of the people that I asked are like, what? Nah, I don't got nothing to do with that. It's just we got to stay safe, and they're doing it for our own good. And I'm like, okay, because I'm going to Florida, and I can't wait.
Yeah,
I think bro. I think you're right, bro. Because think about it. They say that Trump is the most hated president, right? That's what they're saying, and supposedly won without voter fraud, whatever. But yet, right here in California, guess who's 100,000 votes from being recalled? So this goes to show you that you're
in
right.
liberal California, bro.
That you're right. It doesn't matter. They may hate Trump, but guess what? Here in California, it's hurting the pocketbook. So they're turning around saying, guess what? And Trump, if anybody goes back, listen to Trump's speech on January 6th. Go back and listen to that speech. He said it right there. No president has ever had that much power. They're not dictators. They've always blocked them at every turn. You know who has the power? The governors, your mayors, your local sheriffs. Those are the ones that, like a local sheriff here here in California, when they said lock it down, you know what he said? Nah, I'm good. No mandatory lockdowns in Kern County. This is what I'm not going to do here. So guess what? Here, your local sheriffs cannot uphold these mandates that are pushed down. So Trump was right. Everybody was like, oh, Trump's coming back. But he said it. Your mayors, your governors, they hold all the power. It's people that make legislation. They're putting these laws through. These are the ones that we need to get our people, like-minded people that want to have conversations. We need to get them into these positions we need them to be in.
No, but not only that, they used it as a weapon, bro. It was I told everybody, I go, after the election, watch, they're gonna start opening up. And sure enough, after the election, Chicago, remember that lady? She was one of the main ones, that lady in Chicago. But a couple of them, they were like, as soon as the elections, to start open, like all them people that, especially if you lost your business,
bro.
You lost your job, and I would be hot, even if I was a Democrat or whatever. At that point, I would have said, what? Yeah. You gotta be kidding. You mean I lost my job, or even my relative died, I wasn't able to be at the hospital with them, or whatever the case, whatever. And you guys are now saying right after the election, like, how stupid do you gotta be?
Man, I tell people all the time, like, hey, don't y'all think it's convenient timing? And they're just like, no, shut up, Chingo. You're just mad Trump lost. And I'm like, okay, look, the Chicago mayor, her name is Lori Lightfoot. There was a joke going around in Chicago where they would say, have you ever had a torta estilo Lori Lightfoot? In other words, it's still a torta, but you got to eat it in your house. You got to take it home. So she had them on lockdown. Chicago for the longest has had, it's super segregated. All the murders are happening on the south side. I've been out there. I don't think their schools are open all the way yet. I don't know what their teachers' unions are doing, to these kids and their education. But their tone changes completely. They're like, we can't stay closed much longer because we ain't going to have a city to open up back to. And then you got like Governor Cuomo. He's in hot water. And he's like, we got to open back up. Yeah. I know some comedians in New York. And I don't know how they vote, but they're like, it is absolutely criminal what these
Yeah,
politicians are doing to this city. The restaurants can't open over there. It's freezing, so you can't eat outside anyway. And the only reason people like living in these cities where they're getting taxed more and everything is because there's more amenities, there's more stuff to do. Well, they haven't been
Right.
able to do nothing for a year. And I've never been so happy and proud to be from a red state, even though it's like purple. It's like they're trying to flip it because a lot of California people are moving over here and they want to bring the way they vote over here. But
mhm.
I've never been so proud to be from like a red state because we have still a little bit more freedom than a lot of other states.
Yeah, and they always blame Trump though for everything, bro. Like, imagine if Trump would have said, like, and whenever he did, like, oh, we need to open up or we shouldn't be locking down, whatever. You're killing people.
Yeah,
He don't care
it's
about
blood on
people.
your hands,
But
Trump.
Lightfoot, yeah, as soon as the election's over, Lightfoot and all them, they say it, and yeah, they don't even think twice. Like,
Hey, the funniest thing I ever heard was the day after. I'm not even lying. It's the funniest thing I heard. We got one Biden supporter at work in our crew, and he was like, I mean, the Trump the day after Biden won, and was quiet because he knows I went hard for Trump. And he's like looking at me. He's like, "Did you hear?" And I'm like, "Did I hear what?" He's like, "Biden's flattened the curve." I'm like, "Bro, shut the hell up! You don't even believe that." He was like, "No, Biden's." I'm like, "So Biden, his first day in office, flattened the curve, flattened the." And he was like, "I'm just telling you what I heard." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Bro," I laughed because I was like, "Bro, that's comical." And one day, how can you flatten the curve and it takes a couple days for you to get the virus? To me, it's comical, man. I don't even think they believe themselves. I just literally think they
I don't know,
No,
brainwashed them so
no,
bro.
bad.
a lot of them do, man. A lot of them do
Yeah, they
because when January 6th happened, I had a lot of family texting me like, "Turn on the news," and I'm driving.
Right.
I'm like, "Well, tell me what's going on." They're like, "Turn on the news." I'm like, "What channel?" They're like, "Any channel," and I was like, okay, let me." So my news, I'm like, I'm driving. Let me just see what's going on Twitter, see if the world's blown up. And of course, everybody and their mom, when they send those texts, they were trying to do like I told you so kind of
Right,
text. Like,
right.
this is what you've been promoting, mijo. You know, this is
I
what
got
you're
that.
spreading type of thing. And it's like, okay. So I was like, first of all, I said, all them people need to be arrested so we can find out who they are, the ones that ran up in the building, and see
Mhm,
how many
Thank
of them
you.
were Antifa, how many
mhm.
are provocateurs, how many are foreign or CIA. We don't know what they are. I was like, yeah, go in there and interview them, because now it turns out it was a lot of that dude John Sullivan from Utah, BLM dude. It was some Antifa people mixed in,
Yeah,
and you're gonna have idiots no matter what, right? Like you said
Right.
earlier, hey Rod, there's always one bad apple in a bunch. But it is very scary how they're out in the open on TV trying to conflate what
yeah,
happened on January 6th
yeah.
to like when Trump was out of the news because he hasn't been tweeting or nothing or whatever for like a week. They're using that Marjorie Taylor Greene to try to paint
Right.
her as the poster child of
Conspiracy
crazy,
theories. Yeah.
yeah, crazy right, conspiracy, QAnon. Dude, if I had $1 for every time Raza calls me QAnon or something like that, I was like, bro, name anything that I've said that's
Right.
conspiracy. Like,
Exactly.
I was like, you're welcome to fact check me, debunk me, give me a counter source or alternative fact, whatever you want to do, but show me where the conspiracy is.
You know what you should tell them? I can name one off the bat. It's called Ukraine. That was a conspiracy because nothing came from that.
Russia
They
hope.
forget Russia hoax, $42 million. How easy they forget. But all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we're the conspiracy theorists. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
crazy.
I like, what's so sad is during I think the last debate Trump had with Biden, he was like, "What about the laptop, Joe? What about the laptop and the hard drive and stuff like that?" And the American public was just like, "I don't know
Who
what he's
cares?
talking about." Why? Because you had members of the government working with big tech, working with the media, pretty much conspiring to block the New York Post out of their Twitter,
Exactly.
stop the circulation and the
Right,
spread of
right.
news that may have been important for the American people, but they don't care about the American people. They just want to make sure that things are kind of fixed and rigged to benefit what they're trying to accomplish. They didn't want Trump in there, and every time he would say the fake news, and enemy of the people. At first, I was like, bro, what about, wait, the journalists they're supposed to hold truth to power. They're supposed to ask the tough questions, and they're supposed to hold them accountable. But I started realizing, oh, they're just out to get them. It's always gotcha questions. That's
Gotcha
why he.
question.
That's why he told
They're like
Jorge
paid
Ramos.
actors.
Like he told Jorge Ramos, go back to Univision. Go back to Univision. I was like, damn.
Hey, bro, I feel, you know what I feel about January 6th? I feel like that was a planned effort, but a planned by the Democrats to uh, to paint this picture, to take for the next 4 years, Trumpsters, Trump down. Before this election, me and Jess called it. They censored our Facebook. They took. I had a 30, nothing big, but I had a 30K page. They took it down, and I even told Jess. I said they're not doing it before the election. They're doing watch. Mark my word, they're doing it for after the election because they already knew they were going to do whatever they did on November 3rd. It was when everybody started raising up. They were like, yeah, I already silenced you. We started this beforehand. And then January 6th came. They were like, okay, next point of action. Here we go. Now we're going to paint them to look crazy. So for the next 4 years, it doesn't matter what Joe Biden does. Still better than all these cute people. Still better than Orange Man, right?
Yeah.
That's how the
No, but they
people
act
feel.
like it was all bad, whatever. When the look at what's his name said, they were burning all kinds of cities, assaulting people, doing all like 20 people died during the even that black captain died, an 8-year-old black little girl died, like all kinds of people died. They're like I said, burning down, assaulting people, so much crap. And do they ever talk about that, bro? Do they ever bring up what BLM and Antifa were doing? Never, bro. But they act outraged at what that little. And then when I seen footage of them, they're right there walking. Cops are letting them. They're like a tour walking in there, like you know what I mean. They were like beating. You know what I mean? Like it's just totally just hypocrisy.
I mean, the January 6th thing, they won't frame it as, well, it was just kind of a riot that got a little out of hand. They won't frame it like that. They prime people by using persuasive language such as the insurrection. Sure, it was an assault on the Capitol. Sure, I mean, you can call it that, but it's not a coup. Do not call it a coup. That's not a coup. It was funny when they did that coup in that other country, the Biden administration, in the beginning, they hadn't decided maybe how China wanted them to say what it was, but they hadn't decided if it was a coup or not. And it's like, so you call the guy with the Viking hat a coup, but you can't decide yet if this military that ran up in their capital over there, you don't know if that's a coup or not. So this is how I feel about this new impeachment that they're doing. It's more of an impeachment. It's more of an impeachment on you guys and me and people who voted for Trump. It's not even so much about.
Thank you.
They're basically going to crucify Trump so that anybody that was on a certain side of a discussion, anybody who felt that, hey, America needs to be great and let's protect our rights and Second Amendment and First Amendment, all those people, that's what this impeachment is about, is to basically once and for all silence, suppress, and label people.
Wow.
No, you're right, bro. They're gonna nail him to the cross. They're gonna nail us to the cross. It's like getting a beat down, but really the dude not getting off you and just beating you down. So the next time around, you're not gonna be like, all right, I might take this dude on again. You're gonna get so bad of a beat down. You're like, I don't want to get that beat down again. They're gonna make it so hard that we're gonna get. They want us to get so frustrated that we just go, I don't even care. I'm just gonna go back to posting pictures of me on my truck driving off. Or I'm just going to go back to posting pictures of me in the snow throwing snowballs.
I'm going to just go back to parodies.
Well, they're like the mafia.
Exactly.
They're trying to shake you down. They're trying to shake us down. Like even not, we have to think twice before anything we post because we're going to get hit. So we're like gun shy. We're like, we're like they're already worked, bro. It's already worked. Like I said, they're like the mafia shaking us down.
Yeah, man.
Well, so that's crazy, man. But one more thing I wanted to ask you before you left, bro. Your platform. You got a huge platform. How has the support been with other people that are not conservative? And have you seen doors close? Have you seen doors open? How is this affecting? This is what you do, bro. This is what you do. So We talked about backstage. We talked about Pitbull. We seen what he did on Drink Champs, and he came out and was like whoop de whoop, whatever. People started saying, "Look, he's getting woke. He's waking up to realize they use this vaccine as a weapon. They use the coronavirus as a weapon." So, but where has this led you with your career and where it's headed and all that?
Well, it's interesting, man. For one, I've always been underground. I've always been more internet than radio. I've always been more like non-traditional media. I've been more like word of mouth and grassroots. Plus, everything shut down, so I really couldn't measure like, oh my God, my ticket sales went down 25% or anything like that. I couldn't measure it because I'm at home like everybody else. So I had a couple shows in College Station, Texas, and we got word that I think a couple media outlets and just like a troll were trying to call to get me canceled from the venue. They were just like, is Southerns in College Station going to go forward with this event? And the guy's just like, well, what do you mean? It's like, are y'all not canceling him? He's like, why would I cancel an event? They're like, because he's spreading disinformation and conspiracy and this and that, right? Hey, they didn't know that this dude is like hardcore ex-Army Ranger, military, entrepreneur, conservative as hell. And he's just like, we ain't canceling nothing. And he's like, so what are you gonna do about it? They're like, well, we're gonna tell people that y'all refuse. He's like, please tell as many people as you can. Tickets are online and it starts at this time. And guess what, bro? The shows were sold out. Thankfully, people are either keeping an open mind or I'm making sense to some people, or people are giving me the benefit of the doubt. But I'm headed to Florida Wednesday. I got Naples Wednesday, and then I have West Palm Beach Thursday. And I'm just gonna keep plowing forward. I'm a double down, triple down, because to me, we're all reasonable people. Everything we've been discussing, sure, people from the left could be like, no, they're not really cages, or they could be like, no, Antifa's an idea, they didn't really burn, and we could measure how much destruction they did or whatever. But for the most part, we're reasonable. We make sense.
Right.
It's common sense. We're talking about basic things like, I don't want my kids growing up in no city that's on fire. I don't want a bunch of protesters all up and down my street. I don't want the schools to be closed forever. I want the economy to open up. Please don't kill the economy. Things that are pretty basic. And I'm not even, it's like, we're not saying nothing crazy.
So, where your shows in Florida, is it all sold out, or you could go ahead and give them a shout out, like if you want to tell people how to get their tickets or whatever?
Absolutely. Thank you. ChingoBling.com. You can get tickets. I believe there's still a few tickets left. We're hitting Naples, Florida this Wednesday, and West Palm Beach at the Improv this Thursday. And Florida's beautiful, man. I saw all those people having a good time at the Super Bowl. And, it's sunny out, and out there, their governor's doing a great job. It's red state. Everybody's about freedom, and they appreciate it.
All right, you know what you should do, bro? I just seen real quick. Antonio Sabatos Jr. and a lot of conservative.
Oh yeah, I told Josh.
You know what you should do, bro? Would be sick if you got together with the Hodge twins and did a massive tour. Because what I like about the Hodge twins is their whole act is not like super conservative. I'll be honest with you, it's kind of raunchy, but it's not like they talk a little bit about politics a little bit. But you're kind of the same way. It's not like a little bit of just a little bit right there. But the majority of it's all you. You know what I mean? It's all funny. It's all good stuff. That'll be dope to see both of you guys do like a tour around the country. I bet you didn't pack it out. That'd be really sick, man.
Yeah, man. And speaking of Antonio Sabato and them, I'm hearing a lot of inside scoop about conservatives in Hollywood creating entertainment that isn't trying to preach a far left agenda down your face.
Yeah, one of our Lexit team members, Josh, he's with them with Kaya and Sabato Juniors. But I'll tell them about you, if they ever need a comedian or whatever to get you, you know what I mean, on their stuff too, man. But yeah,
he's got acting skills. Come on, he's got acting skills. We see that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we see your videos.
Also, thank you. Also, shout out to the Hodge twins. I met them briefly a few years ago, so I'm gonna reach out and just see if they remember.
All right. Well, thank you so much, man, for coming
Bro,
on. It was a blast, and thank you again for helping fight for the country, bro, and just trying to wake our people up, man. Just trying to wake them up. And I know trust me, it's helping. Don't think it isn't, or don't ever get discouraged, bro, because you've seen Trump went up like 10%, bro, with Latinos, and that's huge, bro. That's so huge, bro. So, and it's going to be even more, especially with you, us, and keep on pushing. The more of us that keep speaking out, it's just going to kills the left's narrative.
And you know what, man? Everything you just said, times 1,000%. Because if it's just Jesse, or if it's just A-Rod, or if it's only Chingo, we'll never. It's almost like the Lone Ranger, and it has to be a little bit more strength in numbers. Towards like, hey Jesse, I got your back. A-Rod, I got your back. If y'all got a product coming out, you got a tour, y'all go doing a speaking tour. Like, we have to support each other so that
that's right.
so that we're not like the only one catching all the arrows.
Exactly. Everybody, if you ain't followed him on Instagram, go. It's Chingo Bling. Tell them, or what is it? How do they find you on Instagram?
Yeah. Instagram is a real Chingo Bling.
Real Chingo Bling. Go follow him, and just thanks for coming on, brother. And good night, everybody. We'll see you guys in the next Lexit War Room.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.
It's still on.
That was great stuff. No, I
Still
already
on.